We continue our interpretation of Neil deGrasse Tyson's Starry Messenger. This is the final part of our discussion. The most remarkable feature of cosmology is its vast scale. Astronomical scale. Tyson suggests that the soul of cosmic perspective, the spiritual energy of this worldview, lies in embracing this astronomical scale. Some fungi are born in the morning and dead by evening, unable to comprehend night and dawn. Some insects born in spring die by summer, unable to grasp the concept of seasons. Small scale, shallow knowledge. Zhuangzi, in his work Wandering on the Way, said, "Small knowledge has not the compass of great knowledge any more than a short year has the length of a long year. If a person's understanding remains confined to a small scale, their life is relatively pitiful. Seeing the grand scale expands the heart. A large heart allows for grand thoughts. A broad perspective enables us to better assess the value of all things. Imagine a region of poverty where the average monthly income is just 1,000 yuan. When a villager returns earning 20,000 a month from a big city, everyone admires them. If that person then speaks of others earning over 100,000 monthly, they become a different kind of person. But if you know people ranging from ordinary villagers to super-rich individuals, and you've handled large-scale sums, income ceases to be a significant metric. You would see someone earning 1,000 a month and a billionaire as equals, each with their own value. As a billionaire said, "I make friends regardless of wealth. After all, nobody is as wealthy as I am." Under the scale of the cosmos, we are all insignificant, so we are all equal, and we should all be humble. But this doesn't mean we should belittle ourselves. Zhuangzi could only imagine. Today, we witness the real cosmic landscape. And what we see is even more astounding than Zhuangzi's fables. 1. Scale. To common folk, the Earth seems vast. Earth was so immense that, humans long believed it to be flat, not spherical. But compared to Jupiter, another planet in our solar system, Earth is diminutive. We know Jupiter hosts a giant red spot resembling an eye. Earth's size fits neatly inside that spot. Jupiter's great red spot is a colossal anticyclonic storm, existing for at least 350 years. In contrast, hurricanes, typhoons, and tornadoes on Earth are mere tempests in teacups. If Zhuangzi knew this, he might use this image to illustrate small knowledge versus vast knowledge. I'd rather show him how Earth compares to the Sun. The Sun's diameter is 109 times that of Earth. If the Sun were hollow, it could contain 1,000,000 Earths. 1,000,000 isn't easily grasped, so let's try another way. The distance between Earth and the Moon exceeds 380,000 kilometers, while the Sun's diameter is 1.39 million kilometers, roughly 3.6 times the Earth-Moon distance. In other words, the entire Earth-Moon system could comfortably fit within the Sun. And the Sun isn't even the largest star in the cosmos. Astronomers know the largest star, Stephenson 2-18, is about 2,000 times the Sun's diameter. So if someone boasts about something being large, let alone the universe, just our solar system would humble them. And that's under normal circumstances, before the Sun transforms. After its death, it will swell to 10 million times its current size, likely engulfing Mercury and Venus orbits, possibly even Earth's. This is why Lu Cixin suggests Earth should wander by then. Consider time scales next. A human lives around 100 years, but life on Earth has spanned 3.8 billion years. During most of these 3.8 billion years, only primitive life existed. Dinosaurs once dominated Earth for about 140 million years. The earliest mammals appeared around 66 million years ago, evolving into humans after many millennia. Civilized humans have existed for roughly 10,000 years, at most. Compared to Earth's evolutionary history, our existence is hardly as profound as mushrooms not knowing lunar phases, cicadas not knowing seasons. We are truly small years not measuring up to large years. Given a large enough scale, anything becomes possible. You may know Earth's tectonic plates drift, but did you know they drift at the rate of your fingernails' growth? Yet this slow movement, over billions of years, can turn oceans into deserts. Think about scale. It reveals how small our experiences are, how fleeting our lives. But lamenting isn't enough. Our concepts must change too. 2. Concept. Ordinary people are insensitive to astronomical scales. If you hear an astronaut flew into space, you might think it's similar to astronauts landing on the moon. In reality, these are vastly different scales. The space station hovers just 400 kilometers above the ground, akin to the distance from Beijing to Jinan. Reachable by car in 4 hours. Measured on a classroom globe, the space station hovers about 1 centimeter above. Even at this height, viewing Earth is vastly different from an airplane. Past claims of astronauts seeing the Great Wall from orbit are false. They can't see highways either, though highways are far wider than the Great Wall. Artificial constructs are nearly invisible. This also means that you won't be thinking about everyday life. At this scale, you don't see individual cities but entire nations. You can't help but contemplate international politics. If your spacecraft glides over the Korean peninsula at night, you notice North Korea's dim lights contrasted with South Korea's brilliance. You wonder how these two countries, once united with shared culture, have such stark differences. It's a matter of scale dictating the size of our thoughts. But viewed from the moon, you'd contemplate different matters. Not international politics. To find the moon using a globe, you'd have to be about 10 meters away from the surface of the globe. This is why it takes just 8 minutes for a spacecraft to enter orbit, but Apollo's journey to the moon took a whole 3 days. In December 1968, Apollo 8 transmitted a famous photograph of Earth rising above the moon. This iconic image profoundly influenced humanity's worldview. At that distance, you can't discern national borders. You see Earth as a whole. Since this image, humans have adopted an Earth view. We recognize ourselves as Earthlings, acknowledging Earth as our common home. Previous generations understood Earth was spherical, but lacking such an image, lacked the visceral understanding. What was 1968 like? The U.S. was embroiled in turmoil. The Vietnam War raged. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Just a few years prior, President John F. Kennedy was slain. His brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy, was also killed in 1968. Campus violence and protests were widespread. Americans felt their country was beyond saving. Then, in this tumultuous year, Apollo 8 returned this image, uniting humanity as Earthlings. Some claim Apollo 8 saved 1968. Though tasked with lunar exploration, Apollo 8 discovered Earth. The Earth view sparked U.S. environmental awareness. While the U.S. knew of environmental concerns, this image intensified the call for action, highlighting Earth as an ecosystem. Apollo 8's photo birthed an urgent environmental consciousness. In 1969, the U.S. passed the Clean Air Act. Earth Day launched in 1970. Agencies like NOAA and the EPA formed. Doctors Without Borders began in 1971. The Endangered Species Act and leaded gasoline phase-out followed in 1973. All inspired by a new perspective of Earth. We found collective human concern through cosmic vision. Seeing Earth this way makes you realize you're an Earthling, inspiring action for our planet. 3. Fortune. When interpreting Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, we discussed fortune. Our cosmic passport. Being born an Earthling results from countless improbable events. Fate favors us. Our fortune includes having a moon. Among the closest planets in our solar system, Venus lacks a moon, and Mars has only 2 tiny satellites. If people lived on Venus, no moon would beckon exploration. Martian moons would offer little incentive. Earth's moon has historically propelled space exploration, serving as our gateway to deep space. In terms of exploration, the moon presents a challenging, yet achievable, learning zone. It seems designed for us. Hence the aerospace saying. If God wanted man to become a spacefaring species, he would have given man a moon. Another stroke of fortune. The sun's size is 400 times greater than the moon's, and its distance from Earth is, coincidentally, 400 times farther than the moon's distance. There's no physical law requiring this. It's mere happenstance. This alignment yields nearly identical solar and lunar appearances, making phenomena like solar eclipses breathtaking. A smaller moon wouldn't yield total eclipses. A larger moon would obscure the solar corona during eclipses, limiting solar insights. Impeding, say, the 1919 confirmation of general relativity. Our fortune also includes that things will not remain this way forever. The moon is spiraling away from the Earth at approximately 4 centimeters per year. From some distant day onward, future Earthlings will no longer witness total solar eclipses. This doesn't even account for the myriad impacts the moon has had on human emotion and culture. If Earth had no moon, we surely would not be who we are today. In the cosmic scale, Earth and the moon are immensely insignificant, yet our Earth-Moon system is incredibly fortunate. Vast knowledge makes us feel small, but small knowledge makes us feel lucky. We are small but not alone, lucky but not unique. That's the correct feeling brought by the cosmic perspective. Lastly, let's do a calculation. There are currently 7.7 billion people on Earth, making each individual seem insignificant. However, considering that the total number of humans who have ever lived on Earth is estimated to be around 100 billion, we are among the 7.7 billion people living in the most developed period in human history. Surely this is incredibly fortunate. So, do you think 100 billion people is a large number? Actually, it's not. Human DNA is incredibly complex, with each gene having different versions that determine innate differences between individuals. Why do you rarely see two people who look exactly alike except for identical twins? It's because having completely identical gene versions is exceedingly rare. So, if we were to exhaustively list all possible gene combinations, theoretically, how many different individuals could exist? The answer is 10 to the power of 30 different individuals. The proportion of these 100 billion people who have ever lived compared to all possible individuals is 0.000000000000000001%, 16 zeros after the decimal point. The vast majority, almost all, of theoretically possible individuals never had the chance to be born. Not only are you unique, but you are also an exceptionally rare representative of the human species. From the perspective of all possible human variations, every person who has ever been born is incredibly precious. We are neither special nor unspecial, which demands that we be both humble and self-assured. Think about it. As a person born on a planet that is highly suitable for life, with a moon, during a time when technology allows for extensive exploration of the world, how fortunate. Would you really dare to waste your life in a haze? Don't you think those who are self-righteous are foolish? Consider how to make good use of the advantageous conditions of this life. At the end of the book, Tyson quotes a tombstone inscription from the 19th century educator Horace Mann. Man earnestly implores you to hold on to this parting advice in your heart. Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.